Hawke, what are you up to over here on the other side of the alleyway?
I take my gauntleted hand, I grab the blade that's in my shoulder, and I pull it out while I stand up. Was it the person with the patchwork armor that stabbed me, or his friend?
The well-armored man. The large man is the one that tackled you.
Right, okay, the well-armored man. Perfect, that's who I did my curse on. So I am going to hit him with my green flame blade as hard as I can.
Okay, so you swing at the armored man as you stand up.
Oh.
He doesn't seem to have expected you to regain your footing so quickly.
Cool, so that's a 18 to hit.
All right, so you're gonna strike, and you did 13 points of damage plus your green flame blade.
Which
right?
is 4 to him and 11 to the guy behind me. So I kind of like pull back my sword, and it's basically a gout of fire, just kind of like flamethrowers back at the guy behind me as I slash forward.
Okay.
And I'm going to level 1 Divine Smite him on top of it because I hate this guy. Oh, and then there's +3 to the damage overall. So far it's...
Do me a favor and give me the full total of damage that you have just rocked this warrior with, okay?
All right,
because
so...
I have a feeling that it's a large amount of damage again, as you are very much a swingy boy.
So 31 points of damage overall to him. And 11 to the guy behind me.
Okay, so you stand up, and there's this burst of flame as you thrust your sword forward, and you stab directly through the breastplate of the individual in front of you, and he chokes as blood shoots out of his mouth, and his eyes go wide. And you can see the tattered bits of his beard catching flame and green flame burning up across his face as he pushes himself off your blade, stumbles backward, and falls dead to the ground. A brown chicken, jumps onto his head and runs past him.
Oh, it's the chicken. And I'm gonna, because I killed that guy with my Hexblade's curse, I get to heal for 7 points.
Of course you do.
And
so you heal for 7 points because of your wicked arrangement with the dark entities of the Nether Realm.
Yes, and then I get to transfer it to somebody else. So I'm gonna put it on the guy behind me.
Yeah, so the corpse on the ground withers immediately as this energy kind of washes across you, and you turn and you I'm sorry, do what?
I look at him, and in common this time, I mutter, "You're up." And I cast the Hexblade's curse on him.
All right.
My goal is to try and scare him into running away so I don't have to actually kill him, but I don't know if that does.
Go ahead and make another intimidation check. It's just going to be a straight roll. This guy is kind of made of iron, but we'll see if you break him.
That's 23.
Okay. Yeah, so he seems to be reconsidering his choices. He doesn't straight up turn and run, but you can see he's backing away from you. I don't know what you're doing, but you could just stop right there. You're encroaching upon our territory. You have done the wrong here.
Leave this alley, and I'll leave it too.
All right, I'll back the fuck away, but I want you to understand, you are dealing with the business of the Grasping Eye, and there will be repercussions.
I don't answer to the Grasping Eye. I answer to somebody else. Now you all can leave and live, or you can stay and I will kill you. Okay,
so you're doing this in this part of the alley. However, nobody's informed the other side of the alley that there's a potential ceasefire happening. Siraye, what are you doing?
He's now up.
He's standing across from you.
I'm gonna try and kick. Is he close enough for me to kick? He's not like 10 feet away. Is he 5 feet away?
Yeah, he's 5 feet away.
Cool. I'm gonna try and kick him. I'm gonna look up, and I'm just gonna right leg side kick him, and I'm trying to smack him in the head.
Okay, so you extend your leg, you swing upward, and you try to strike. 11 is gonna be a miss. Billix ducks down, and the tiefling like lands at like a 3-point splits as your leg swings over them, and they leap back up. ready to fight again.
Can I use my bonus action to do another unarmed strike?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I kick him, and then I miss, and I go to turn and like swipe him
Okay, so you're gonna
ninja style
You're gonna try to strike him
in the
second
head
time?
again. Fuck
Okay.
that. I'm going headshots only right now. Baby.
Okay, so your arm extends out as you try to
Damn
strike
it.
him.
That wasn't that great either.
14 is just gonna miss. So you
Fuck.
you swing and it gets really close to his face, but he like steps back, and you can see that tiles have shattered underneath
Cool.
his feet, and so they're like repositioning themselves as they balance themselves on the top of this roof on this very precarious edge.
Rad. I want this to become some crazy kung fu fight. Let's go.
All right, and so that's the your opponent's turn now. Let's see who's in the opening. Maglo, you've got 3 individuals who are firing arrows at you. Actually, no. 2 of them are firing at Hawke. 1 of them is firing at you. That's a natural 1. Okay, so 1 arrow just flies and doesn't get anywhere near Hawke. It shoots far over your head. You see an arrow just kind of fly off into the street beyond. A second arrow does, however, strike Hawke. And as you're saying all of this, and it seems like this thug is beginning to back down. He seems to be in some sort of position of leadership, but he starts backing away from you, hands kind of raised, and then all of a sudden an arrow hits you in the chest, and you take 4 points of damage. Your opponent smiles and then charges at you as you look down at the arrow in your chest. That's another natural 20. You only got 1. So he actually hits you with his mace, and he hits you hard. So that is 12 points of damage.
Oof.
As he puts his weight behind it, even though he's damaged, he's pretty badly wounded. He swings, and you hear a crunch on your armor as an enormous dent kind of works its way inward, and you take a step backwards, feeling the weight of the swing. Maglo, the 1 arrow misses you. So an arrow hits the cobblestone around you. You hear the whooshing past your ear as you just step out of the way. The 2 individuals on the ground, the one that is has been recently hit by you, throws a dagger at you and misses. And so the dagger flies over your head. I swear they're rolling either garbage or they're hitting natural 20s. So he throws his dagger and it misses you. It just whizzes past your ear. The other individual that you shot first that has stolen your book turns and looks at you. Saying nothing, you can see that black mask. You see their eyes kind of brightly glaring at you. The individual kicks a lever and the entire cart tips downward, and they and all the crates that are on the back of the wagon pour off towards you into the street, shattering. Yeah, make me a dex saving throw.
It's 20 on that. Rolling
20
like an absolute champion today.
20
I don't know
is-
what energy this I'm bringing,
I don't know, but it's amazing. So all of the crates shatter open and the boxes spill outward. And you can see the individual has, let me see if they can do this. Yeah, the individual that was sitting on the top of your book has disappeared for the moment. The other individual is underneath all of the boxes, and you don't think that has helped the situation for them. As these shattered crates burst open, and you immediately see a large number of reptilian bird-like creatures burst forth from the broken remains of these crates as these weird beasts burst out. They're small. They're about the size of a small dog.
Right. So you've made your decision today, have you?
Yeah. You should be able to now see the strange creatures that have emerged onto the street with you. You are still standing. You are not harmed by the shattering of these crates, although it did force you to reposition. We are at the end of the round, and we are starting back up at the top. Maglo, what are you going to do?
I'd like to do a quick glance at the person who, see if I can see the man with my book.
I'll make a perception check for you. Not good enough. No, you cannot see them now. In all the chaos of the shattering of the crates and the tipping of the wagon, you seem to
Did
have
I
lost them.
catch a flash of genius on that?
You can.
which is a +4.
You've used your flash of genius, but you have not yet built. You've not bested their stealth check, so no,
Dang.
you still do not know where they are. But you desperately start seeking around. We'll come back to you as you stand there in the street seeking
Brilliant.
the thief that has stolen your book. Calder, you deliver the wine and the cup to the individual seated in the back of the mangy dog. The tavern seems to have picked up, and there is more music from the bard, though she is still playing fairly broken and disjointed music, as it seems that she's even further in her cups than she was before. As you come to the table, you see the individual that is seated before you, the powder blue robes and the very finely shorn head and the heavily muscled form of that figure, as they regard you with a very even look. What do you do when you approach the table?
So Cal's gonna set the drink down, like slide it over a bit. Can I get anything else, or will that be it?
Do you see that individual over there? Pointing across the room, there is a older man with long, stringy gray hair and a bandana tied across their head. They are wearing what looks like very rusted old chainmail armor, and they have a set of 3 dragon ante cards out, and they're playing a little solitaire game, sitting at a table. I would be happy to see that your tip is increased. And there's a clink as 3 golden dragons are placed on the table. If you were to find business near that table and tell me whatever he says to anyone who enters.
Understood. Cal is hesitant to reach for the coins, so he just...
Sensing that, the mage, presses his hand down and pushes it towards you.
All right, Cal takes it and pockets it and doesn't look again at the man that he pointed to, but goes back and starts to look for work near the table.
And so there are some dirty areas that are piled with plates and cups. You don't have to look very hard to find dirty tankards in this place. So you do manage to keep yourself busy. I want you to make a performance check, though, to make sure that you're not awkward in doing this. You rolled a natural 20 the last time you did this, so no pressure. No pressure to perform at that level.
Oh, well, that's a 7, so not quite in the same league there.
Yeah, you're moving about, and you're doing your best, but you're not sure. You're not sure. The older man who's playing this solitaire game of cards doesn't seem to react strangely to your presence. But after a few moments, someone else enters into the tavern, and you see a very dark purple cloak, almost black, as a figure walks across the tavern, the old ragged wood, and everyone who's walked into this tavern and stepped on those boards, it sounds like elephants are moving across it as there's a heavy creak of groaning wood. You think that there might be 3 or 4 nails remaining in the entirety of the floorboards. But this individual enters into the tavern and glides across it, sitting themselves across from this older man. You see a very pale, and by pale I mean stark white, hand as they pull off a glove and pull out from their robe a scroll. You do not see their face at this point. The hood is far too low for that. The scroll is placed down on the table and pushed across towards the old man, who continues to turn cards over. And the old man turns over a number of cards very quickly. I need you to make an insight check. That's a 0.
Oh,
It's a natural. Yeah, it's a natural 1 with a -1. So
wow.
yeah, Cal, I need you to roll again to see if you get 2 natural ones in a row.
Yep.
I love that Matt is laughing so loud that he had to mute himself.
Oh my god! Oh my
No.
god! Oh my god! That has never happened in the history of D&D. No one can physically roll 2 zeros in a row.
Like
Matt, don't
literally,
make them feel worse.
we just went. I just want to say we just went from 2 nat 1s to 2 nat 0s on the same character in the
No,
same.
we went from 2 natural 20s.
It was 2
Sorry,
two
2
natural
natural
20s.
20s.
All right.
I was like,
Oh God.
Calder, before you roll, I want you to understand that the same rules apply to natural ones. If you roll a 3rd natural 1 here, I will alter the campaign for the worst. Like it's going to be something very bad.
I'm just pressing it. I'm just.
Oh.
Oh my God, that was so close.
Oh my god.
Like no pressure, but oh my god.
Oh my
I want
God.
to take a nap. I want to take a nap right now.
So I'm going to leave this up to you because I know you are an amazing storyteller. I want to know, what does Cal do to cause every set of eyes in the tavern to look at him?
I'm gonna say he steps on one of those loose floorboards in a way that the other end comes up and smacks him in the face.
All right, that's very fair. All right, so Cal,
It's what I deserve.
And you take 4 steps backwards and you land on the table behind you, which is the same table that these 2 individuals are seated at. And it topples over. And both of the figures are looking at you as you lie on the floor. And the cards are scattered out all around you. As you feel a nosebleed trickle just slowly down your chin,
Oh,
you look up and you see the individual in the hood, still seated looking down at you. But now you see their face. White skin that is almost translucent with a hue of purple and an inner working of veins throughout it. Dark, pitch black eyes and an angular face. This is a drow elf. June.
so happy to be here.
What happens next? What do you mean?
Scratch has taken you underwater and you are swimming through a thick, heavy storm drain. And the water is murky and there has been a good amount of rain recently. So this grate underneath this part of the wall has slowly eroded and it is a very tight squeeze. And you see the cat-like figure of Scratch nimbly reposition themselves and pull themselves through the grate. It seems very difficult. And you're underwater, and he turns and looks back at you, reaching his clawed hand outward.
Heck yeah, she tries to grab that thing.
All right, so I need you to make an acrobat. Or you know what? Let's make it an athletics check.
11.
You fumble and you begin losing sight of kind of where you're at, and you feel the hand, the claws wrap around your hand and pull you forward, but you're floundering. You take a level of exhaustion as you inadvertently breathe deep and water kind of fills your lungs, and you feel just a rush of pain work through your muscles as you continue to try to hold what breath you have left. Make another athletics check, please.
Well, now I have disadvantage.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled disadvantage, so 11.
Yeah, so you try again and you start pushing your way through, and every time you get closer to this drain, the water keeps rushing past you and pushing you further away. Scratch does have a hand on you and is trying to pull you in, but you can tell that because of your positioning, he's not able to do so. So the water is rushing past you, and you have a mouthful of it as you're continuing to try to struggle forward. You have one more athletics check before this becomes a problem.
I'm so scared. Oh man, 7.
And you feel yourself slipping from Scratch's grasp, and in the last moment, as it breaks away, you pass out, and you feel clawed hands around you, and you don't know what happens next as water rushes all around you as you're trying to force your way through this inconceivably tight hole that has been dug through this small storm drain so that you can climb through the sewer system to enter into the walls of Waterdeep. You know that Waterdeep is well fortified, and it makes a lot of sense that this would be the only easy way through. However, in the moment underwater, as it all rushes past you, you feel it all slip away. And there is a pulsing drone that fills your ears. And it's comforting. And you awaken in your grove, surrounded by the stones and the glow of the arcane sigils that have been carved upon them. There is a soft bed of moss beneath you, and leaves are floating slowly through the air as a breeze carries them onward.
She looks around and she kind of just feels like this is wrong. Something's wrong. So she's going to try and call out to her god or anyone who would hear her. Sylvanas, Father of Nature, lead me where I need to be.
You close your eyes and you focus. Let's have you make a religion skill check.
Dirty 20.
You reach out and you feel a wash of understanding as you complete your prayer. As often has happened in the past, you feel the presence of your God. The Oaken Lord is here. You feel the close harmony of nature. And the leaves all freeze in the air where they are. They no longer move, as if time has stopped. And motes of dust ignite with an inner glow as the scene begins to illuminate itself. And from a light in front of you, somewhere beyond the glyph stones of this glade, you see a silhouette, and it's hard to tell the figure or who it is. It's just a blur.
You're getting closer.
What?
You're getting closer.
Closer to what? Or whom?
Keep going. Don't let go.
June wraps her arms around herself and, confused, she takes some steps forward.
There's a waver, and that energy continues, and you see the silhouette in front of you. It still doesn't resolve itself into anything that you can grasp onto. Visually, it seems more like a blur, ethereal wave of dark tethers, and there are strange echoes in the distance.
Oh, she gains her confidence and she starts dashing towards that blur.
Okay, so you rush forward, and as you do, that wavering changes and the form resolves itself, and you see Scratch, and you are underwater again, and he's like, you can see the strain in his face as he's pulling you through this grate. Make athletics with an advantage.
Do you see the second one?
Yeah, I do. It's not great. So you are barely through here, and you see Scratch forcing you through. I'm gonna say you take effectively 9 points of damage as you're pulled forcibly through this tight space, and you dislocate a shoulder. Eventually, though, you are shocked as in a dark cavern within the wall. You start gasping for air, and you realize you're above water. Scratch has pulled you out, and you are desperately struggling to breathe. Don't move.
Fish flop.
Don't move.
Oh.
And you feel Scratch press your arm down and then grab your other arm. You're going to want to bite down on something. And I'll make a medicine check. And there's a pop as he pulls your arm down, and you hear it as it sets back into the socket of your head.
She just fucking screams.
We're going to need to wait here now. We won't be able to climb with your shoulder like that.
Clearly.
You are inside an enormous sewer cistern, and there is water pouring in from a lot of different angles, and you see really steep, stark, slick walls made out of stone that lead up into tunnels. They're at least 60 feet up into the air.
Okay. June just kind of just lays there in her agony.
Scratch is soaked to the bone and looks even more horrendous now that he's like a wet animal almost. His ears are drooping, and he looks miserable as he kind of shakes himself off and starts to gather his things. He looks over at you and then stops and pulls out a small leaf and opens it up. Here. And he presses a leaf that has berries inside of it.
June takes the berries, and I'm assuming you want me to eat this?
He stares at you.
Yeah. She's coughing out more water. Okay, and she shoots it down the hatch.
You regain 6 hit points.
Wee, trust. Can I clarify something?
Yes, please do.
For the audience, was I drowning on poop water?
For the audience, you are sure that there was probably some fecal matter in it somewhere.
Campaign, June just can't stop getting poop. Okay.
Love that for you.
I love that for me, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, so much of this campaign seems to center around the sewer system of Waterdeep. And unfortunately, the technology is not, even with magic, the technology is not quite where you would expect it to be. They kind of just filter that out into the bay.
It's a metaphor for something.
It
the
is.
gang, maybe?
Yeah, it's a metaphor for what we go through to get our goals accomplished.
Honestly.
It's basically Parasite.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. Of which your character may want to be checked for in the near future. We're going to come back to you, June, as you and your companion begin resting within the wall of Waterdeep. You are further along than you had been, and you are hopefully close to your goal of emerging into the city proper. Although at this point, clean water would be helpful. Elerie, your situation is far different than June's. You are seated in a very posh and well-presented office, surrounded by ancient tomes and books that have been gathered from all across Faerun. There is a crackling fire, and a glass of port has been put into your hands by the very attentive man in the blue robes seated across from you. You have been talking now for some time. Would you tell me, how much are you going to reveal to these men?
I think Elerie would start out with the very beginning of the tale, which to her would probably begin when she first decided to start sailing.
So you are intentionally going all the way back in your life history to try to drag this out and make it difficult, correct?
But the moment if they gave any pushback, she would, a little
Correct.
part of her soul would die, and then
Yeah,
she would,
there's a section where you're talking about your life, and so you learned, Elerie, how to sail from your father. your father and your mother fell in love, and your father was a human sailor, and your mother was a free spirit. Together, your family lived in peace on an island near the Moonshay Isles, where they kept to themselves and did much of the work of gathering and fishing and living, trading with the merchant vessels that would travel through the ports that were nearby. However, it was a very simple life. But as I had said, your mother was a free spirit, and as she was of full elven blood, of a subset of elves known in the common tongue as the aquatic elves, your mother ended up leaving your family because she no longer could bear watching your father grow old, knowing that he would die and that she would have to accept his mortality. To preserve all of that, if somewhat abruptly, she disappeared from your life, and your father became the center of your family's journey. You learned how to sail, and you became quite good at it. And when your father did eventually die, the only thing that he had to his name to bequeath to you was the boots on your feet and the jacket that you wear and the hat that you have on your head. However, the lessons that he taught you made you a survivor, and you found work very easily in all of the varied port cities and were able to use your exceptional sailing skills to work upon a great number of ships. And you did so for years. And you're continuing the story on, right? And Sternwald at one point stops you. If I didn't know better, I would start to believe that you were delaying the conversation regarding the siren's call. While this is very touching, I can't express to you how important it is that we get to the heart of this matter.
Well, I was about to get there before you interrupted. If it wasn't for my father and the way that he taught me to tie the ropes around the sails and all the knots that come with, I probably wouldn't have seen those sails close to the Moonshay Isles, and perhaps I wouldn't have joined. So it's all relevant to me. But I could, I could stop dancing around it if you could just tell me exactly what it is that you want me to tell you.
Smiter Grable, the captain. Speaking of the Moonshay Isles, the charts that we have from the ship show us that you were making transport between Baldur's Gate and a small keep on the outskirts of the southern tip of the Moonshay Isles. There was a very large haul that was gathered in secret and not recorded. Can you explain to me what was being carried inside of that ship?
Leary immediately starts to say, I don't know what you're talking about.
The stone glows very brightly. I believe you know exactly what I'm talking about. My dear, it would do you well to just tell the truth, yes? We mean you no harm.
I might know something. Yeah, I'm sure there's something big in there, something that, Captain was real excited about.
Go on.
All right. They had a manticore in there. And it was terrifying, okay? Have you ever had a manticore just scream at you?
His eyes alight upon the stone. The stone is as it was. It doesn't flare. Yes, we understand. There were a number of exotic creatures that were being transported. That is not what I am speaking of. Something more illicit. Come now. Surely you know what we're speaking of. Something perhaps that the captain kept away from the others.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Illuminate us.
And if I do, full protection.
Very well. I understand how your kind speak. And while I am loath to use your language and lower myself, justice will be served. Sternward turns and opens a box and then starts stacking platinum pieces onto the table until the stack is about 50 high. Does this help your memory, pirate?
Now, for that, I'll tell you about the wyvern's blood, but if you want to hear about something else, it's going to have to be a little bit steeper.
Did I say I was done? And he continues to stack, and there's about 100 on the table now. Does that suit your purposes?
Yep, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
He scoops all the coin into a small leather pouch, closes it, and throws it at your feet. Well?
Yeah, the captain lost his mind. Whole ship planned a mutiny. I don't know, some blood was involved. Things were said. What more do you want?
Would you do us the great honor of describing the affairs that the captain was attending to when he lost his mind? Was there a book?
I didn't see a book.
The stone in front of you glares brightly. I don't feel that we should be dancing around this. You've been paid. A black book, very large, filled with arcane glyphs that you probably do not understand. No, you wouldn't understand.
I can't lie. Damn, this arcane stone that keeps me from lying. I want to blame it on Vesh, but I'm just trying to think of the right way to say it so that that green thing doesn't light up.
So Sternward steps forward, face to face with you. Perhaps you are confused as to our arrangements. I have paid you. We have been more than cordial. You are not a citizen of Waterdeep. Our duty, both the Watchful Order and the Inquisitors within the city that have been empowered by the masked lords to upkeep and withhold the code legal, have the authority to take non-citizenry that has clear and malicious intent and put them to the blade immediately. We are within our right to kill you here and now. And so if I have misspoken, or perhaps my flowery method of gentry has confused you, allow me to make myself clear, pirate. You will not leave this chamber without telling us everything that we want to know. My sources and records are clear. We have been watching you. You were set sail on a ship that was suffering from strange occurrences, and then a priest of Lathandor leapt to his doom on that ship as it was pulling away from the port in the Moonshae Isles on the dock of Moray. There are other reports from the sailors that you have worked with, that madness and an exotic haul of strange mystical creatures had been gathered under mysterious conditions, and that the entire wealth of a dragon horde was within your hall at the time. You sold something the others didn't. Of that, I am certain, and you have confirmed here today. I give you one last chance for us to do this in a pleasant manner. Tell me what you saw.
What I saw was that a lot of people wanted that book. A lot of people started asking questions about it. I don't even know what this book's about, but if you really want answers, I think you should go to House Redar.
Good. Now we are getting somewhere. It wasn't that hard now, was it, my dear?
Well, you made it easier.
You are a delight. I am rarely beset, and yet here you are, a shining star within these great days of Waterdeep.
Oh, if only we could get this one to leave us alone, then we really could get down to some good questions.
Oh, the other figure that has been standing in the room with you this entire time, just silent, standing in the back of the room with the wooden mask with the roses carved across it, has been watching very attentively. Sternward walks over to this figure and whispers something, and I will check your perception to see if you hear. You do not. Whispers something to the individual, and that person walks out of the room. As your eyes kind of flit across the room while this is happening, Archmage Smygor presses another decanter and refills your glass. Perhaps when this is all done, we could arrange a private dinner. Perhaps you could enlighten me on the paradises that you've discovered on distant shores.
There will be plenty of time for that.
Oh, of course, of course. I myself am no stranger to the customs and arts of many great exotic cultures. I could show you my collection of taxidermied songbirds.
You know, those are my favorite.
Excellent, my dear, excellent.
I just want to say that you can see the little green thing in the little orb light up.
It's just he does not notice. Sternward very clearly does, but he's so taken by you and your flattery that he is hook, line, and sinker paying more attention to you than the stone.
Good.
Yeah, that's we're gonna leave you there. We'll come back to you. Good job. Okay, moving away from that.
Hey guys, I don't want to be a poopy pooper. However, I am on like 15% with no power here. So just letting everyone know where I'm at.
There's also a huge storm here, and I feel like
Let's end
we're
it.
on thin ice as far as
Hey.
power and internet.
We just knocked off that scene. It feels kind
it's
of
good.
neat.
Let's let this end here. We'll edit it later and just try to figure it out, and then we'll pick up the rest of it, and then maybe find a way to make it all fit a little bit more smoothly. But absolutely, we can say goodnight. It is 4:00 now on our end. So thanks
Midnight.
for bearing with us. Yeah, midnight for you.
Always.
Sorry for being a pooper pooper.
Hey, hey, Burns,
I want you to have
anything.
power. You need to have your phone so that in case
I
something
was
happens.
just attacked with support and love.
we feel
You're good.
personally like honored that you would use the last of the power you do have to play make believe.
I was legit thinking. I was
You're
like, I
sitting
swear to
there in
God,
the
you
dark.
can say what you want about Burns, but you cannot say that she's not fucking like
I'm in it,
here.
guys.
Like,
Yeah, I'm in it.
yeah, fully in, mate.
I will. I'll set this back up so that when we meet up next, we're able to just kind of like start out as it were, and we're going to treat it all like one big episode and
Okay.
just go from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okie
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I
that
know
was
we
so
had
fun.
we had a lot of
End of part
logistical stuff. Yeah, had a lot of logistical stuff to do. So
Yeah.
it was good that we got it set up.
My
But
chair
thank you all.
keeps making a noise. I hope that wasn't like picked up too much in the recording.
I don't think so. heard
I
you-
wanted to check in. There was some flirting in this session. Was everybody good with the flirt that?
Yes.
I'm an expert at avoiding flirtation, so
No,
a lifetime of
yeah.
experience.
The-
It's all good.
and the characters should react as they were going to. Like I know with you,
No, it's
there was
all
the
good.
bard, because
Yeah.
you just left
It's
me
all good.
open for a lewd comment that I couldn't resist.
I heard it as soon as I said it. I was like, oh.
It's like, I was
Our,
like, this drunken bard is not. She's not going to let that go. So
You know.
I was hold with it. And
All
then
good.
and you're okay.
Natural are my natural charisma checks flying by with everyone?
I am
love
living.
this.
Yes.
I don't mean
The
to sound
greatest thing.
flirtatious, but it just like Illyri's just like so on the cusp of like just trying to get the best opportunity out of a situation
Oh,
that like
yeah.
a player
Same,
very
ma'am.
much like on
I
the
love
fly.
it.
Charlie,
Yeah.
angel yourself out of
Yeah,
the situation.
it's
I
pretty
support
great.
you.
Really got the
Go
worst
for it.
person in the world based on sound alone
Yeah.
in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like I know
Yeah.
nothing about this guy's morality other than
No, that's it. If this guy turns out to be
I'm like,
like,
oh, I hate that
like
guy.
the best, I will become evil. I will make this an evil campaign.